Hello explorers, thanks for joining us again and welcome back to our channel. If you are joining for the first time, I appreciate your time. There's been a huge development with regards to the relationship between the United States of America and the country of South Africa. It is important to note that the United States of America has informed South Africa to an extent, letting them know that the particular collaboration in the military training or courses or students who are in the pipeline or those who are already in the United States of America should start getting ready to go back home. It's important to note that this relationship has hit rock bottom as we speak. Geopolitics has its own consequences if you consider the particular position between the United States of America and that of the country of South Africa. South Africa, a very strategic trading partner for the United States of America in the continent of Africa. South Africa has always been the landing spot for United States of American companies before they spread across the region. South Africa does have its own internal challenges, no doubt. However, the country has made it clear concerning the recent interview by the South African ambassador that was expelled from the United States of America, and more importantly, the foreign minister, Mr. Lamola, has come out and said that irrespective of what the United States of America regarding its own sanctions or trade cutting or other particular tariffs that may be levied on the country of South Africa, that there are areas that the country of South Africa will not waver. Let's play the clip.
There are issues of progressive internationalism which we cannot compromise on. That includes the issue of the ICJ. So, on the ICJ is an issue of international law, which has to be respected by everyone. And South Africa, this is a matter which we will not withdraw from the court, which we have already put. It's a matter that we believe it has to be dealt with on its merit. So this is a matter that we will not compromise on.
It is important to also note that maybe the biggest question that expert and global analysts should be asking that, is it just because South Africa took the country of Israel to the ICC, or there is more in this particular story? If you consider that with regards to the comments of the United States of American president and that of the Secretary of State Marco Rubio regarding the situation in South Africa, it is vitally important to know that South Africa to an extent has stood its grounds considering its own relationship.
Right, so the United States government is sending South Africans engaged in military-related studies in that country packing. The ANC-NEC is now calling for tensions to be resolved before the situation deteriorates further between Washington and Pretoria. Voyon Voko has more.
In its latest move, the U.S. administration last week wrote to Defense Minister Angie Motshekga, informing her that it had immediately stopped funding U.S.-based South Africans whose studies were connected to military affairs. All those affected must immediately return home. The abrupt decision came a week after the Trump administration expelled South Africa's ambassador to the U.S., Ibrahim Rasool. Speculation is now rife that the U.S. may institute targeted sanctions. Fear is also mounting that the second largest trading partner may soon kick South Africa out of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, something that will hurt the country's troubled economy. At its weekend meeting, the ANC's highest decision-making body between conferences discussed the worsening situation at length. It's ordered its deployees in government to do everything in their power to mend the relations with Washington before it's too late.
The ANC's international relations are not transactional, they are transformational. We further note the litany of the executive orders from the United States of America's administration, including the return of our ambassador, Comrade Ibrahim Rasool. Despite this, we urge our government to continue to pursue diplomatic engagements with the United States of America's government.
It is also important to note that the United States of America is a strategic partner for the country of South Africa. More importantly, at this particular time, that the government in that particular African country has decided that it's open to work with the country of the United States of America. Make no mistake, South Africa is a strategic business partner for the United States. It's not just like the United States alone have more leverage. However, there are a number of areas that South Africa also can pull the string. If you consider the relationship so far, looking at 2023, 2024, and 2025, as we're going to see, these two countries made billions of US dollars in terms of trade. South African farmers and South African businesses are benefiting from the African Growth and Opportunity Act. And this particular benefit also goes to reflect in the US companies' own bottom line. This is important. So the question here is, does South Africa, as a strategic country in the continent of Africa, will they waive? Will they be backing out from this? But it's a clear indication that South Africa have said, we are not going anywhere soon. We really want to engage the United States of America, but irrespective of what is going to happen, we will stand our grounds in a number of areas.
Not everything should be up for discussion, though. Appeasing the United States by withdrawing the International Court of Justice case against Israel is a no-go area.
On the ICJ is an issue of international law, which has to be respected by everyone. And South Africa, this is a matter which we will not withdraw from the court.
The ANC has urged its president to prioritize appointing an ambassador to the United States to begin the task of mending the relationship. For Newsroom Africa on Channel 405, I am Vuyo Mvoko in Johannesburg.
There's been a huge back and forth between the United States of America and South Africa, considering how South Africa has been accused by the United States of America of promoting some particular things in the country, talking about the land expropriation, which the media has debunked, and also other particular officials within the region have come out clear to speak on this particular issue. This is causing a particular situation in the country of South Africa, considering their relationship with the United States of America. The continent of Africa is paying attention on what's going on, and the global South countries are also observing very closely. The United States of America, to an extent, has singled South Africa to be a partner that it will be at this moment. Other experts will consider South Africa being a foe. It is important to note that there were other countries around the world that supported that particular case in the ICC. But more importantly, experts will be asking, is it only South Africa that took that initiative, despite South Africa led that particular idea? However, there are other countries around the world that actually made such contribution and also expressed their particular opinion in that area. However, the United States of America, to an extent, has singled out South Africa, and we're going to see how this relationship is going to work out, considering trade in the line and considering a lot of other very important things as the United States of America has cut its support to the country of South Africa.
South Africa saw the US under the Trump administration develop an interest in the country, with Trump resting on the false claims of a white minority being targeted in South Africa as justification to do so. It is, however, believed that the shift in relations may lay in South Africa's support for the Palestinians. The US has fast made policy changes that do not spare South Africa politically and economically, raising questions on the status of the mutually beneficial relationship, such as the future of AGOA, which is set to expire in 2027.
In a trade, it's a two-way process. Both countries benefit. So as and also with the US, we remain ready to engage on trade agreements that are mutually beneficial for both countries.
Furthermore, escalated tensions have seen lobby groups in the US call for targeted sanctions against South African leaders, a move the ANC described as the quote-unquote price to pay for justice.
We hear that there is a good lobby around that, but of course we know that throughout our struggle, leaders and members of the liberation movement had to sacrifice. And even in this particular period, we will actually continue to pay the price of standing for justice, for humanity, and for equality and respect for the rule of law, as well as various other processes that inform our stance and how we relate with other nations.
South Africa, which is chairing the G20, will hand over to the US and South Africa later this year. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Boksburg.
More importantly, the continent of Africa is observing this relationship and where it's going at the moment, as South Africa is strategically placed partner in the continent of Africa and a big voice in the global south. I think that other experts and other nations are observing the relationship very closely, and this gives room for other big players like China, Russia, and some fringe powers across the European Union to continue to engage the country of South Africa and, more importantly, cut other trade support that the United States may be benefiting. This has always outraged a lot of countries across the continent of Africa, and some governments across the region are at the moment working out to look for solutions on how they can figure out the way that they can come out from this particular mess that they found themselves today. Again, like we've always said, if you rely on your geopolitical partner for some critical supplies and critical issues in your particular security, it's going to be an impact. The country of South Africa at the moment is revising its position and to see how the engagement with the country of the United States of America will progress. Like the ambassador said, the United States is a strategic partner for the country of South Africa, and he, to an extent, wants the relationship to continue irrespective of the expulsion from the country of the United States of America. So too is the Minister of Foreign Affairs that have said, we want to work with the US, however, there are boundaries that cannot be crossed. I want to thank you for watching. Let me know what you think regards the decision by the country of the United States in expelling or ending any collaboration or training or courses or whatever with regards to the military personnel that were in the United States of America. For now, we are looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.